Okay, class, welcome to Trigonometry Section 4.1 on angle vocabulary. We are going to do some review of angle parts and terminology, review complementary and supplementary angles, and talk about two new angles of negative and coterminal angles. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to start off with the vocabulary of an angle. So with the vocabulary of the angle, there are different parts of the angle, and some of these are new terms. So we have the vertex. The vertex is the same thing that we've always known it to be. It's where the two rays meet. In trigonometry, we have what's called the initial side, so we're always going to start drawing our angle with this ray, and we are going to move, and then we are going to have what's called the terminal side. It's where it ends. So we're going to start at the initial side, draw our angle, and we're going to have the terminal side. And finally, we have that an angle is in standard position if the vertex is located at the origin. So if I have my set of axes here, I can draw an angle in standard position. So I have my initial side ray here, which is drawn on the axis. Sorry for my sloppy pen work. And I can draw the other side going out, and my angle would be here, and that would be my angle drawn in standard position. So again, we have the initial side and we have the terminal side. And in trigonometry, we are going to be drawing our angles in this, what is called the positive direction, which I will get to shortly. Okay, so just a review of the quadrants. So for the quadrants, we have quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we have the quadrant angles. So quadrant angles are going to be the angles that lie on the axes. So if it lies on the axis, then it is a quadrant angle. Went too far. Okay, so initially we have 0 degrees. So we have 0 degrees marked there. If I start at my initial side, and my initial side is always, when I say always, I mean always for trigonometry, the initial side of our angle is going to be the positive x-axis. So for all the angles that I'm going to draw, this is going to be my initial side. Oops, keep going too far. Okay, so that is my 0 degrees. So if I start and go up to here, my terminal side is the positive y-axis here, and this is going to be my 90-degree angle. I'll go ahead and switch colors. If I start up my initial side and go and make a semicircle, that angle is going to be 180 degrees. Continuing all the way around, the next quadrant angle starting at my initial side and going all the way down to the negative y-axis here, this would be 270 degrees. And of course I can make a full circle, which would be 360 degrees. So we have two different types of angles. We have positive angles and negative angles. Now in geometry class, an angle was defined to be a positive angle measure. In trigonometry class, we're redefining things. We're going to have positive angles, and those are angles that rotate counterclockwise, which is the direction I've been drawing my previous angles in. But we're going to have negative angles, or ones that rotate clockwise. I erased my S there, so don't mind my typo. We are going to sketch an angle measure 200 degrees in standard position. So it's in standard position, which means it is, we draw it with the vertex at the origin. My initial side is always going to be my positive x-axis is my initial side, and 200 degrees is going to go 180 degrees plus 20 more degrees. Now I can't videotape this with a protractor on top, but when you're sketching your angles, you should be using your protractor for accuracy. So I'm going to go 180 degrees plus 20 more, and that is going to be where my terminal side here, and I'm going to label it as 200 degrees. Now it is a positive measure, 200 degrees. I went counterclockwise. We're always going to start with the positive x-axis and go counterclockwise 200 degrees. Now a negative angle rotates clockwise, and we're going to do a measure of negative 170 degrees. So we're going to start on the positive x-axis, we're going to go on the positive x-axis, so that is my initial side, and I'm going to go clockwise 170 degrees. Remember, a semicircle will be 180 degrees, so it's just 10 degrees shy of it. So this angle here is my minus 170 degrees. And that's how we draw our angles. Okay. Okay, so on the next slide we have complementary and supplementary angles. So review, complementary angles is two angles whose sum to be 90 degrees. So if we need to find the complement of 60 degrees, it would be 30 degrees because those two add up to be 90 degrees. So we also have supplementary angles, and supplementary angles are the ones that sum to be 180 degrees. Sometimes people get complementary and supplementary angles mixed up, but complementary and supplementary are in alphabetical order currently, and then 90 and then 180 degrees go numerically in order. So if we want to find the supplement of 110 degrees, 110, subtract that from 180, and you get the supplement, which is 70 degrees. Okay, now the thing that I do want to put out is this word two positive angles. Okay, so you need two positive angles whose sum is 90 degrees or 180 degrees. So for example, an angle that's 100 degrees is not going to have a complement because it doesn't have a positive angle summing to be 90 degrees because it's more than 90 degrees. So you could have none. Okay, so next up we are on coterminal angles. So coterminal is a new term. So coterminal angles share the same initial and terminal sides. So I'm going to draw in, so for example 1, it says find an angle coterminal to 45 degrees. So I'm going to draw my 45 degree angle, and I'm going to go ahead and draw that in standard position since I have my axes here. So I'm going to draw it in. I have 45 degrees, so that is roughly my angle. I'm going to switch back to my pen. Okay, so this is my 45 degree angle. So I have my initial side here, and I'm going to go to my terminal side there. So the two that I marked with my blue dots. Okay, so initial side up to my terminal side. That's my 45 degree angle. So an angle, coterminal angles share the same initial and terminal sides. So this is 45 degrees. Okay, so if I start at the same initial side, but I go in the clockwise position and end at the terminal side, so this large angle here, which is almost a full circle, but not the 360 degrees minus this 45 degrees, then I am going to have coterminal. Because to be coterminal, it needs to share the same initial and terminal sides. So having a positive and negative angle that kind of sum to be 360 degrees roughly, we're going to get coterminal angles. So this large angle is 315 degrees, almost. So 315 and 45 make the full circle 360 degrees. But because this angle went clockwise, it went in the negative direction. So my answer is negative 315 degrees. And it's important to get your degree symbol in there. Okay, so next up we're going to find an angle coterminal to minus 160 degrees. So 160 degrees, it's negative 160 degrees. So I'm going to start on my positive x-axis, and then we are going to go in the clockwise direction. So I started with my positive x-axis. I'm going to go clockwise 160 degrees, and this would be my minus 160 degree angle there. So the terminal side here is in quadrant 3. So to find the angle that is coterminal to it, I'm just going to go the opposite direction. So in this case, it's the positive direction. So I'm going to start in the positive x-axis and go around so that I started at the same initial side, I ended at the same terminal side. So I'm just going to do 360 degrees minus 160 degrees is 200 degrees. And since I went in the counterclockwise, I went in the positive direction, the coterminal angle is 200 degrees. Okay, so that is what coterminal is. So that is all for tonight. I hope you have a great evening.